Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, you got my face today for Mugen's doing the NXT review. This is the NXT straight after the Great American Bash, so we continue the stories from what happened there and new stories slowly developing. I thought it was a pretty interesting way to open. We go in the direction of the tag scene where Gallus have gone and jumped your new tag champions in Tony D'Angelo, the Don, and Stax. It was a nice little feud carrying on, still the rivalry there, and Gallus making the point of we're still on top, you're always going to remember that. So there's still unfinished business there. We then head to the ring of what I was most excited for, especially because it opened the matches going forward for the night, was JCJ and Layla Valkyrie. Or Valkyria. Correct me in the comments if it's Valkyria or Valkyrie, but I'm pretty sure I wrote Valkyria for most of this. Either way, they were a great match. The feud has been awesome between the pair of them, of Valkyria being told by Rhea Ripley, start getting the edge around you, and JCJ making it a point of like, stop getting involved in my business, you started this, I'm going to make it end. Commentary go to open, be like, welcome to NXT, and then very quickly JCJ takes commentary headset, says stop talking, and states that no one's going to be able to pull her off, Layla Valkyria, and states that this time, security, everything's not going to get involved. Layla Valkyrie comes out, does her entrance with the music playing, and JCJ just bombs down, goes straight for a fight. The match seems like it was going to go straight into JCJ's favour, but Layla kind of snuffed that into going straight. Nope. My turn of momentum. Slam the match back down. Loads of heavy chops. Very nice crossbody very early on. But the back and forth of this match was really unique, and the storytelling within the ring I thought really played into this. Jacy Jane having that kind of smile every time she was inflicting pain to Layla, and knowing Layla was struggling in parts of the match. There was an awesome athletic spot that Valkyrie is very much known for, doing these flips into a really awesome drop kick. We have an up and over, which was awesome to see, and a great uppercut as well. But this was in the commercial break, which kind of sucked, because I really wish this match didn't have any commercial spots, because even in picture-in-picture, there were some awesome parts to all of it, and there was a really amazing spot of a top rope drag, so it like raked Valkyria's back that JC Jane did, and it was really hard to see, but they highlighted it in that picture-in-picture. But I wish that was like out of commercial break, or that's where they started the match back in, because I was really invested in that part, and it sucked to see it on a very small screen. But I understand how television works and how you have to put the ads in where you can, and the allotted time slots they have. We go back into the match very quickly, and there was a very fast elbow drop takedown and a senton going straight into Valkyria, seeming like, oh, JC Jane has landed this. But luckily, a quick break, kick out. Like, when I say break kick out, I mean a rope break kick out. Then we have Valkyria doing top rope high cross bodies into another like suplex for a 2 count combination, which I thought was awesome. And you really started to see JC Jane was struggling in this match, and very quickly got that momentum, forced herself back up, which is a spot I always love to see in wrestling. You think they're down and out, but they then get the adrenaline rush of like, no, I'm not done. Carried it on. Hit a really awesome spine buster for a 2 count as well. Then there were a lot of back and forth super kicks, very stiff punches, and Valkyria took the opportunity when JC Jane was dazed on the ground to climb up to the top rope, hit her, take flight, frog splash, and get the 3 count. Which I thought was an awesome match. Solid 15 minutes of NXT just on a women's match, and I want more of that, of like just women's matches opening or giving them the spotlight, because the story was built, and it's a good move going forward to have actually that women's division story being built more and more not just involving the Women's Championship. We then go into very interesting parts, and I have a lot of additional thoughts with this of the trick Mello and Carmella Hayes. The trick Mello, like Trick Williams, Carmella Hayes having a back and forth about what happened at Great American Bash, saying how they're all still cool with each other, even though, you know, Trick Williams took the hit from Dragunov, and if it wasn't for Trick Williams with the belt shot and everything, Carmelo might not even be the champion. But Trick Williams was stating that he doesn't want to come across like a sidekick, and Mello's like, I've never saw you like that, and Trick Williams was like, no, I know that, but everyone else does. I got to do it for me. You're a champion. I've got to start doing things for myself. And Carmella Hayes was just like, I understand, man, and I know you're not going to miss when you do those fights. So it's kind of like bittersweet for me, because it feels like they are now going to go, okay, Carmella Hayes has already been pushed to the moon. He is that guy. So let's see where Trick Williams can go and what storyline's going to happen with him. But I feel like they're already preemptively trying to plan a turn with Trick Williams against Carmella Hayes and him challenging Hayes. If not, I'd love to see him go after he's fought Dragunov, probably go for the US title scene there, because that makes the most logical sense to me now. We then have Rhea and Dom entering the backstage segment. A lot of boos mixed with a lot of cheers. It's Rhea and Dom, love or hate them. Judgment Day are going to be everywhere on our programming of WWE right now, and I'm always here to see more Judgment Day content. We have the backstage segment of checking up on Tony D'Angelo and Stax, and just making sure these guys are still medically cleared after being jumped, because they were going to have a celebration with the tag team belts, and they decide, instead of having a celebration, we're going to have a match. They want Gallus. But Stax was like, bro, we can't. It's a 3-on-2. What are we going to do? And Tony D'Angelo was like, I'll make a call. Stax is like, to who? And Tony simply states, you know who. I'll make the call. Which I thought was interesting, because there is a couple of options they could have gone with. And I already kind of theorized who they were going to aim for, and I'm glad we got the reveal that we did, and they picked who they did, because it worked perfect in my eyes, especially towards the end of that person's NXT run before they went to main roster. And we'll get into the reveal of that and how they built on it, because it happened throughout the show and it worked really well. We then go back to Rhea and Dom finally entering the stage, and Rhea just shouting, and still your North American NXT champion. And Dom states that Rhea is always right. Mommy's always right, as he stated. And Dom is now the greatest luchador. It is how he put himself. I'm the greatest luchador to ever live. And we have Dragon Lee come out. They already had an interaction the week prior where Rhea kind of jokingly said Batman about Dragon Lee. And I don't think Dom noticed it, or it was just that subtle that neither of them broke character. But they already had like a back and forth kind of have a joke on Dragon Lee and build on that. But it was a very interesting promo from the pair of them. Dragon Lee comes, walks out, says, I'm not having you disrespect like your heritage, meaning your like luchador heritage, and I won't have you disrespect the NXT universe. And Dragon Lee states, we all know the actual greatest luchador is your father, and say in Rey Mysterio, and he wouldn't be champion without his mommy, and stated that Rhea has Dom's, I'm pretty sure they pronounced it as cojones, which obviously talking like balls and everything, doing it in that way of sedating it, saying that Rhea literally has Dom's balls in his purse. And it was just a really weird way of them going about it, because he tried to do it Spanish to kind of play it off and make it more PG, but we can read the connotation to it anyway. Rhea was just stating, yeah, they're twice as big as yours, Dragon Lee, and then he was like, fine, prove it. Challenge me next week. Defend your belt. Dom accepts as a fighting champ and said Rhea will be coming along with him because wherever Dom goes, Rhea will go. And Dragon Lee states, I won't be on my own either. And shows to the Titantron that Rey Mysterio is going to come down to NXT to stand ringside with Dragon Lee, and said it is an honor to see what is going to be the next evolution of Luchador and the build of our future and heritage of Luchador wrestling. And he said he couldn't wait to see Dom lose the NXT title, which I thought was awesome. They're still building in that family tension, and it's an additional extra page where wherever Dom's going to go, his family and his history is still going to follow him, and I like how they did that. After that, we have Wesley walking backstage. He kicking off furious, just being angry, slams a chair. Carmella Hayes trying to talk him to calm down, and Wes is like, I'm fighting for my life here. I've lost the championship. I'm fighting to still get myself even on TV. I don't know when I'm next going to be relevant. I've been losing for 3 weeks straight. And Wes is just like, you have no idea. You're on top of the world. You're the champion right now. And Carmelo Hayes is like, you don't understand the burden, the things I have to do to still be champion and be on top of the world. As you say, I went to war on Sunday. I'm still struggling to breathe. So they're trying to have that like common ground. And then you have Noam Dar walk in and state that he's still the Heritage Comp champion because there has been situations where Nathan Fraser can't defend the Heritage Cup, so Noam Dar is now champion again. And it's a very weird, interesting thing because I like the Heritage Cup, but they're still trying to really still keep it relevant in just standard NXT until NXT Europe happens. But we'll see where it goes. But that all kicks off and it turns into a fight between them. So Carmella Hayes and Wesley are going to go against Meta 4. We have Eddie Thorpe enter the ring to have a one-on-one with Dijak. And it's quite interesting to see this match develop. It's nice to see Eddie Thorpe getting some really good pushes from some really good wrestlers and have some interesting storylines already going straight into it. Just before their match starts, we see that Chase U is backstage talking about the scenario where the towel was thrown in at Great American Bash to stop the match, and Chase is just saying, I had to do it, I'm sorry, to Baron Corbin, walks in, really rips into Thea and just makes it very uncomfortable towards Thea, saying it's not for everyone, you should pack your bags and leave, you already peaked, you're not going to get anywhere further than you did Sunday. And Chase was just like, no, I'm not having this, I'm not letting you talk to her like a POS, and said them two were going to have a fight because Baron was like, cool, if you don't like what I'm saying, stop me from saying it, fight me in the ring. So that match was set for later on in the night. We then go to the match that I stated with Eddie Thorpe, and Dijak has now walked out. We get, as soon as the bell ring, Dijak uses all this momentum to try and rush down Eddie Thorpe, but he returns straight back, like literally hits the brakes and goes, no, it's my momentum I'm going to like drain from you. Like takes several chops straight to Dijak, an amazing drop kick into several super kicks. Eddie gets the momentum, but Dijak finds a quick way to use that momentum to throw Eddie straight into the metal barrier poles that the ring have. And Eddie took what I would consider a very nasty shoulder bump. Like, he hit the top of the shoulder, not like the side. So they really played into he's now working on an injured shoulder more and more. And this kept going on. Dijak would really focus on it, hit several times. There was a really cool spot where Dijak hit a choke slam very early on, and everyone thought that was going to be one and done because not a lot of people have been kicking out of Dijak's choke slam at the moment. But Eddie kicked out on a 2 count. And which was quite a lot of shock to people. Eddie tries to grab the momentum back, gets a 2 count on Dijak himself. Eddie's shoulder gets rip-corded down onto the rope again, so another really bad, nasty injury. As Eddie's trying to grab his shoulder and he's hanging from the metal bar of the ring in between, his head's there, so Dijak takes a nasty super kick straight to his jaw, slides him back into the ring, and as that's coming around, they hit the spinning kick. It looked like they were going for a spinning elbow, but he kind of just baits the elbow to do a really strong kick, straight like an uppercut kick, to knock Eddie out for a 3 count. Which I was like, okay, this makes sense. I'm kind of here for it. I understand what's going on there. Dijak needed the win more than Eddie, because Eddie's only just recently debuted. And even if it's a couple of losses, they can build it as that underdog story. He's losing a bit, but he's going against really strong guys, and he'll get his revenge and come back up that way. So, all in all, good match in my eyes. We then have Tony D'Angelo on the phone. Thax walks in and be like, did you get your third man? Like, what's he said? And Tony just looks at him and goes, yeah, he'll be here. He's making his way. We're even now. We've got it sorted. We have quite a lot of backstage segments this episode as well. Dana Brooke is backstage talking about how she enjoyed hitting Cora Jade with that kendo stick. Cora shouldn't have gone the way she did. And that Dana started seeing red and had this darker side to her. And Jordan was stating, yeah, you're quite a badass. And she says, you need to do the same. You need to go out there, call someone out, get that badass attitude with you, because you're going to need it. So it seems like Dana Brooke's now coming across like she's going for a stronger, darker intent, maybe going slightly more heel, because she was getting sick and tired of how people are insulting her. I understand where it's going, but Dana has been dealt one of the worst hands, because fans are not over with her, and they're really trying to push her as whatever character she's going for is going to be great regardless, and not taking in this. Like, they're making references to the crowd not being happy, all the negative comments, and you can tell it's actually affecting Dana, so it sucks that they're like, oh, we can implement that to the story, but it's not helping her. It feels more like a hindrance, because it's now making her feel like she can't be good without having people be negative to her. She can't have that killer's edge in her without having people push her to that point. Whereas, because of how people have already been disrespecting her and looked down on her, she should have just naturally had that from the beginning. And that's where I think this kind of story feels a little flat. But it's awesome to see how much women action we got on NXT this week. Especially because in the wrestling space of last week, a lot of controversy of there wasn't enough women's TV time. NXT made sure there was a lot for it this week. We go from having Dana Brooke's backstage segment straight into a women's tag match action of Yulisa Leon, Valentina Vero, I think it's Veroz that they pronounce it, or Viroz. Correct me again if I'm wrong with pronunciation. I'm still learning some of these wrestlers' names because I haven't saw these particular women's wrestlers be on TV often, which was a good thing to see them have this now build up a lot more. They were going against Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. And for me, Lola Vice really stole that match. She had some incredible spots, really strong hitting. It was a very grapple-heavy match, and a lot of going for submissions, and a lot of strength hitting from all of the girls there. And I thought that was fantastic of how they did that. Leon did an amazing hot tag segment of showing how she used to be a powerlifter and doing several slams back and forth. And just, there were some incredible spots of a spinning kick from Vice Lopez that really sold me on the match. Of just, she had that momentum, kind of like martial art dance, and just timed it well. Looked like she was going for a high kick to faked it and hit straight in the stomach as like a gut kick, which I thought was awesome. You some really nice spots as well where a hidden super kick came in because the ref wasn't looking, and that's what actually kind of snuck these guys to win with Lola Vice doing this. And I thought it great, fast, heavy hitting tag match, and some great new wrestlers to see on TV, and I'm interested to see where they go with these characters now and how they develop them further, because a lot of it came across like a more cultural match because they showed a lot of their flags and like a lot of where their heritage comes from. You had Mexico, you had Brazil, you had Puerto Rico as well, which is, I know, is a part of Mexico, but they had like the two sides of it. And I just thought it was awesome how they did that match. We also get a Tiffany Stratton doing a makeup, talking about Great American Bash and what her plans are next. It was in a TikTok format, but they put it on NXT as well to kind of give it as like this promo style. It said she'll either call out her next challenger or she'll do another Tiffabration, but we will just have to see what her next moves are. We have Wesley and Carmella Hayes walk out teaming up. No Trick Williams in the background after the segment. He spoke with Carmella Hayes saying like, look, we're still cool. It's not a breakup, but I gotta go do me things. So he wasn't there at any point, which I thought was very interesting. We have Metaphor walk out, and Noah Dar seems like he's going to enter straight away, but then we have Wesley go, nope, flies through, hits the pair of them, starts fighting strong. Carmella Hayes tries to help break it, but accidentally hits Wesley at the same time, and it just becomes a brawl on the outside of the ring. Carmella Hayes luckily gets Noah back into the ring, and the two of them start the match. There was a very interesting spot where Carmella Hayes was questioning, do I hit the cutter or do I tag Wesley? Which cost him some vital time for Noah Dar to get more fighting in and get Oso to help out and kind of overpower for a while. You could tell Carmella Hayes was really playing on the he's still hurting and slightly tired from Sunday's match, struggling for breath on some of the chops he was getting or some of the gut punches he was getting, and really cornered him. Very hot fast tags between Noah Dar and Oso, or Oro. I'm probably butchering his name. I'm pretty sure it's Oro. But they kept tagging back and forth, a lot of hits. And Oro really shined in this match for me. There was a really interesting spot just before commercial break where both the two girls that help out Metaphor quickly dragged Oro out of the ring and kind of stood in the way of, and was like, nah, you're not going to do this. To when we came back to break, there was another particular spot where this happens again, where Wesley goes to the top of the ropes. This time Noah Dar is being protected, but Wesley just shrugs and goes, nah, forget it, I'm still going to do it. Does a very awesome corkscrew flip and still hits Noah Dar with it, because they quickly panic moved out of the way so Noah Dar could still get hit. There was also a spot where Mello nearly got swung at and he just kind of avoids it, looked like he was going to hit, realised it was one of the girls in Metaphor and was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, and just slid back into the ring. Then he got kicked. We then have some crazy last moments where Wesley does his signature triple flip, axe kick down to knock him out, and he thought he hit Oro. He doesn't. He hits Carmella Hayes, and then Wesley was hit with a super kick and got pinned in that situation, which sucked for me, but it makes sense. It's a huge win for Metaphor, especially when they are trying to be heels, and it builds the momentum for them. And then you have the tension of Wesley and Carmella Hayes kind of kicking off at each other. Wesley is just fed up, tired of constantly losing. He was like, where are you? Blaming Carmella. And it's like, bro, you see me standing here. I tried to help you. You caught me in one of your moves. You got me dazed and everything. And it was like, chill. We'll sort it. We'll make it happen again. We'll work it out. But I feel like this is planning for Wesley to turn slightly more heel and go against Carmella Hayes, which I'm here for. If that happens, that match would be awesome to see. We have Bron Breakker hitting arguably the harshest call out promo in a while that we've had for NXT, talking about how like Von Wagner is nothing, his father isn't really anything, takes the mick and says like, "Oh, your story was so touching from what I got to watch," and states about how the scars Von Wagner had as a child are nothing compared to what Bron Breakker is going to do when he is finished with him. And I thought that was such a deep hitting line to go like, oh, you're trying to play this sob story, okay, let me make it into your worst nightmare. And it got me fully invested into this feud that I wasn't really all that here for. For me personally, Von Wagner just hasn't been developed enough as a character. I understand they're now giving him kind of a manager, helping him speak more, but it doesn't sit right with me that you've got someone who was an incredible NXT champion, has this awesome heel turn, sick of the authority, sick of Carmella Hayes doing the win that he did, the whole back and forth he had with Dragunov for a little bit of time, to now he's going against Von Wagner. It just feels like a disservice to Bron Breakker personally, but who knows, maybe it can build Von Wagner into that next level status and it still makes Bron Breakker come out looking good. We'll have to see the outcome of that match. Baron Corbin comes to walk out for this match against Andre Chase. The new music and the new gear he has is back again from where it was in Great American Bash. So I believe Great American Bash was where he revealed it and debuted it, and now he's sticking with this. And I kind of like the theme song a lot. The whole, burned his boats, burnt the bridges. He's getting rid of all the past, all these gimmicks he used to have, and he's now being him, being more ruthless. As that's happening, we have Axiom catching Rhea and Dom walking off in frustration, being like, imagine being called out for this match, this is ridiculous, everything like that. And Axiom's like, calls out Dom, just basically stating, I can't believe you're still doing this disrespectful nature, especially to luchadors and your father. And Dom's like, didn't we already just have you speak to us earlier about how much you loved my dad and everything? And Axiom was like, that wasn't me, that was Dragon Lee. And Axiom seemed really annoyed by that, and it's like, oh. Dom's like, oh, who are you then? Like, still acting like Axiom doesn't exist or knows who Axiom is. To Mustafa Ali comes down, interrupts Axiom as he goes to speak against Dom, being this kind of horrible way Dom was. And Axiom's like, dude, that's not cool. And Ali still carries on and does it. And Ali's like, 1 second, Axiom. 1 second. And then, with all of that happening, Dom and Rhea walk off. Ali looks at Axiom, and Axiom's like, I don't appreciate you disrespecting me like that at all. And Ali's like, cool, imagine being disrespected for 6 years in the company. That should have been my US title. I should have had this opportunity. It should have been a fair fight between me and West, not Dom being involved. Which I definitely agree. Like, I've always loved Mustafa Ali. I love the way he wrestles, the charisma he has on the mic, because when he is passionate to talk about it, it exudes that. He really has that aura about him when he talks about it. But Axiom also for me is like really growing on me, the new style, because A-Kid was one of my favourites to see in NXT UK. So hopefully this builds into a feud of maybe another triple threat of Axiom, Ali, and Dom. If Dragon Lee doesn't get this US title win, we'll see where it develops, but I'm interested to see where it goes. And Ali made a very good point. We then have the Baron Corbin Andre Chase match. Baron Corbin making it a very violent and vicious streak coming out of him, and he made it very apparent to Andre Chase. Andre Chase really struggled throughout most of this match. Some very nasty slams on the outside of the ring and a lot of submission holds. Kind of did like a hammer and anvil, like elbow strikes to the neck on him at some point. Also kept elbowing him in the back. A lot of momentum just was constantly taken out of Andre Chase. He got to do the Chase U kicks, but he was struggling holding his back, and then that also failed on him. He even tried to do a really interesting spot with Baron Corbin's leg to kind of get this momentum going. As Baron Corbin was on the buckles, like thrown up, he grabbed the leg and slammed the leg into the buckles, really hurting Baron Corbin's leg there. The very interesting part, which caused the end of this match, was Thea seemed like she was about to throw in the towel, like Andre Chase did to her, but then she walks away, which gives enough time with Baron Corbin's distraction, like Baron Corbin having a distraction situation go on. He took the opportunity and hits the end of days for a 1-2-3. I don't want the breakup of Chase University, but this is very scary because the fact of the move is called End of Days. There's feud and tension between Chase University. Storytelling to me feels like this is becoming the breakup of Chase U, which sucks. I really don't want that because I love Chase U. I find them a lot of fun. We have a crazy highlight, kind of throwback of the Great American Bash weekend from the eyes of Roxanne and her family. They went to an anime convention which is known as DreamCon. That gets held around the same time. They were guesting there, and Blair approached her and tried to have a fight there. There was a really awesome scene where Booker T is having just before the match, pep talk to Roxanne, which I thought was a really nice little touch that they put in that video package, and then highlights the actual match, which was brutal. I'm pretty sure you'll get a more in-depth feel of that match from Reese's review. So if you want to go check that out, it'll be the previous NXT review, and it'll be Great American Bash because he did a very great in-depth video on that. But we now lead on to her saying some very interesting wording at the end of all that video package. As I said, she's kind of done apologising for other people, and she wasn't apologetic for what she did to Blair Davenport. Her name is Roxanne, and she won't be broken. This, for me, solidified this is her coming back to kind of that grittier Roxanne we had at the start, a little bit more heel in her intentions when she first started wrestling. And I'm always here to see kind of like an in-between type of story of I'm a good person, but you push my buttons, I'm gonna make it known. So the shoes of the mystery partner were shown as the car pulled up, and they were very white and posh. And my first initial instinct, I only know one flashy person who used to dress like that when they used to rock up to NXT, and they used to run a faction. I knew this was Santos Escobar as soon as I saw the shoes. And we got the reveal of it. I thought it was freaking awesome that we had that. We had a fun little segment straight after that as well of Metaphor hyping the fact they won against Wesley, which was one of the most successful US champions, and obviously current NXT champion Carmella Hayes. Tyler Bate comes through and was like, "Oh, Noah, so you're the Heritage champion, right? And you've defeated everyone else that's also had the Heritage Cup, right? So it sounds like you need a fresh challenger." And he looks for a few minutes, and Noah's like, what? And he's like, "Cool, challenge accepted." Kind of like reverse psychology, got himself a match, and I'm fully here for it, because that was a unique way of getting a match, and I'm always here for Tyler Bate matches. I'm a huge Tyler Bate fan, so this is awesome, and I can't wait to see that Heritage match. Because the Heritage match format is very unique in wrestling, and I love seeing it. So I'm always here for more matches for the Heritage Cup. We then have the Schism storyline continuing with Creed brothers still kind of causing mayhem and nuisance to them, even though they're not in NXT, but they're lingering around in NXT and still causing chaos, just not as the Creed brothers officially. It's a weird spot. you had Schism basically have all these new members stand there, and it was like, 2 of you members laid hands on us, and we know you faked it. We know it's the Creed brothers. Starts pulling them out one by one. We get to the third person, and it's Yujiro with his jacket again, as always, and they're all just screaming like, "You think this is funny? Get out of the ring, it doesn't concern you," and all kicking off, getting really angry. The dyad grabbed the 2 people they actually think it is, and it's basically body doubles of the Creed brothers. They're not actually the Creed brothers. We get a Titantron of them basically taking a mic, using a green screen, saying, "These are all the different places we visited. We're having a great holiday." And, "Oh, these statues kind of look like the Schism masks, but we wouldn't know anything about that, not at all." And then they were like, "Oh, the surround sound in the hotel we were in the other week really made it sound like we were there in the stadium. But we thought we'd just call to check up on you. Like, we're totally not in Orlando, not at all. No, we wouldn't be where you are filming NXT right now." And Schism basically go to all people across the world that are Schism followers, find us the Creed brothers and bring them to us. Meaning there's a potential of more people in Schism to be revealed to bring the Creed brothers to them. So who knows? This is going to be very unique as a call out and where the story is going. But I was kind of here for it. And then we get the main event, which I thought was huge. We get Gallus walking out in kind of like their matching rugby gear style as always, which I think is a fantastic look, especially as a faction group, all cohesive. And I'm kind of a sucker for like sports jersey style gear anyway. And we just have Don and Stax walk out on the ramp, showing off the belts, hyping up, and you just hear Tony D'Angelo go in, "God did a favour, got an old friend, just watch. LWO music hits, Santos Escobar walks out to a huge pop, everyone screaming, welcome back. We get an awesome start of everyone kind of sliding in the ring, having a fight, but once the fight gets more controlled, we have the Wolfgang and Stax open with the bell ringing. Tony D'Angelo very quickly gets these hot tag in between Stax, and they're just comboing a lot on Wolfgang, not letting him get back up to do any of his powerhouse moves. We get a lot of these triple tag team moments between Joe Kofi, Mark Kofi, and Wolfgang as well on Stax, really outpowering him and making him struggle in those moments. But the momentum comes back again to the family with Tony D'Angelo, Stax, and Santos Escobar, where they hit what they've now named the Spicy Meatball, where it's a headlock and uppercut punches while you're holding them, which I thought was really funny as a name, but also it looked really cool as a move. There was a really harsh slug punches as well, like ones that proper sound like it would break a jaw if it hit in the wrong place. Stax getting overpowered by all the three of Gallus again. So Stax was very much your sell guy in that match. Really took a lot of hit. Santos hitting one of the coolest hot tags in a long time. Just doing what he does best. Getting hits when he can. There was a really cool spot where Mark Kofi and Joe Kofi stopped both Santos and Tony D'Angelo tagging again by cheap shotting them and dragging them both off, which I thought was awesome because that's what heels do best and stop a match like that. Really putting the fear and pressure into Stax. We then had a really awesome crossbody Hurricane Rana set up from Santos Escobar as well. And we have a very interesting double knee kind of running hit from Santos, tag to Stax, and Stax quickly hits Tony D'Angelo, and we get the really cool finisher that they've now named Bada Bing Bada Boom, which I love, especially because it fits kind of like their mafia Italian family vibe. I'm all here for it. It's an awesome finishing name, and it's kind of like it's like a weird power pickup like suplex. Like it's kind of like a vertical German because they both pick up at the same time and assist drop. It looks cool anyway, and I'm kind of here for that. But they didn't finish the usual way I expected them to. I was like, okay, match is done. Why is there still like 8 minutes left of NXT? And then the camera quickly turns to the name Trick Williams appears, and it's a very familiar voice. We hear Ilya Dragunov calling out Trick Williams for a fight, stating, "You are the sole reason I'm not NXT champion. If you're stating you're not done with me, good. Because I'm only just getting started with you." And I thought that was an awesome promo. It gave me chills. I'm ready for that fight as soon as we get it. All around, I thought this was a very unique NXT. A lot of great story building from where Great American Bash was. A lot of great follow-up. And just really interesting match aspects going forward. And a lot of feuds I'm now looking forward to see. Gallus and the family having this back and forth has been fun for like the past few months, and they've just only now added even more oomph to it with getting Santos involved. So I want to see where this goes. And Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio like being in the ring together, I think that's going to be great for next week as well. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me tell your favorite, let me know your favorite match. Let me know where you think the story's going to go. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next review that we do, and we have the podcast this Thursday for our SummerSlam predictions. So look out for that on our YouTube page. Thanks. Bye.